Hello, this is Mrs. Hickman. Today we're going to be continuing chain rule, except we're going to be doing with trig this time. So let's go over a few rules and stuff. So here's just a little review of a chain rule. It's a composition function. So this is just pretty much saying that u equals g of x. Okay. So if we're looking for the derivative of this function, or this function more accurately, you're going to find the derivative of whatever is inside the parentheses and then multiply by the derivative of f of u. Okay, that's what we're going to be doing. All right, so I have another video about power just with polynomials with chain rule. So I would say if you're looking at chain rule for the first time, please go look at the one with polynomial before we do trig. Okay, so before we do anything, remember sine squared of x is also equal to sine of x squared. So that should help you with that. Okay? So if I were to find this, so let's just say y equals, oops, okay, sine of x squared. So my u is going to be sine x, and my f of u is going to be u squared. So my u prime is going to be cosine of x, and my f prime of u is going to be 2u. So then f prime of x, I'm just resubstitute back that in, so you're going to have 2 sine of x. So I'll find the chain rule by multiplying this times that. So y prime is going to be cosine of x times 2 sine of x. However, we don't put 2's right here, so that goes here. So it's going to be 2 cosine x sine x, which I'm pretty sure is a double angle identity. I can't remember which one. Yeah, I can't remember which one. It's a trig identity. I just forget which one it is. So just go and review those. Okay, so going on. So then we're going to take into consider an angle function, if any. So example, sine of 3x, cosine of x squared. So something within an angle. So let's do y equals sine of 3x first. Okay. So if you remember in the other video, I said u is going to happen wherever there's parentheses, or it's going to happen at the end of a trig function. Okay. So this right here, that right there is going to be u. So I'm going to have u equals 3x. F of u is sine x. U prime equals 3. F prime of u is going to be cosine of x. Cosine of u. Whoopsie, that's supposed to be a u. F prime of x is then going to be cosine of 3x, because u equals 3x. So then your derivative of this one is going to be y equals 3 cosine of 3x. Okay? All right, next we're going to do cosine of x squared. So same type of thing. I'm just going to put that one over here. Y equals cosine of x squared. So u is going to be x squared. F of u is cosine u. Okay. U prime is 2x. F prime of u is negative sine of u. So f prime of x is negative sine of x squared. So your derivative is going to be 2x times negative sine x squared. That looks like you're subtracting, so your final answer is going to be negative 2x sine x squared. Okay, that's it. There you go. All right, let's get going over here. Okay, so we have find dy over dx. That just means find the derivative. So let's go. All right, so we kind of got, you can make this into a product rule, or you can just have the 4 and then multiply whatever we have left. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to do the product rule here because, yeah. So we're going to just put f prime down here. And we'll just get it started. So we got a 4 times something. Okay, so that 4 just brings down. Okay. All right, so now we got cosine of x cubed. Okay, please know that this is not cosine of cubed of x. Like this cubed is not the whole cosine. The cubed is only for this x right here. So u is going to be x cubed f of u is going to be cosine of u. U prime is 3x squared, and f prime of u is going to be negative sine of u. F prime of x is going to be negative sine of x cubed. Okay, so u equals x cubed. So the chain rule is going to just be u prime times f prime of x. So that's going to be times 3x squared times negative sine of x cubed. Final answer is going to be negative 12x squared sine x cubed. Alright, and there's the chain rule for that one. Alright, next we're going to do this one. Okay, so anytime you see a square root, make that into a rational exponent. So f of x equals x cubed plus cosecant of x to the 1/2. Okay, so same multiply. Whatever is in parentheses is u. So u is going to be x cubed plus cosecant of x. F of u is going to be u to the 1/2. Okay. U prime is going to be 3x squared. Cosecant is going to be, the derivative of cosecant is negative cosecant x cotangent x. F prime of u is 1/2 u to the negative 1/2. So f prime of x is 1/2 x cubed plus cosecant x. Okay, so my derivative, okay, is going to be the derivative of it inside here, which is going to be 3x squared minus cosecant x cotangent x times this. Okay, so simplified, we're going to have 1. So 2, that's negative exponent, so that's going to go on the bottom. So 2x cubed plus cosecant x to the 1/2. And 3x squared minus cosecant x cotangent x. And if you want to, you can keep going. Minus cosecant x cotangent x over 2 times the square root of x cubed plus cosecant x. Okay, so that's completely simplified. Okay, next one. Pretty much just like the last one, except you're going to be multiplying by a number. Okay, so I'm going to put y prime down here. I don't know how much room this is going to take, but I'll just start down here. So we're just going to bring that 4 down. Okay. If you want to, you can make this equal to 4 secant x plus tangent x to the 1/2. And make it easier for that. U is what is inside the parentheses. So you have secant x plus tangent x. F of u is u to the 1/2. U prime is secant x tangent x. So that's the derivative of secant x, secant x tangent x, plus secant squared x. F prime of u is 1/2 u to the negative 1/2. So then f prime of x is going to be 1/2 secant x plus tangent x to the negative 1/2. Okay, so you can go ahead and find the derivative now. So that's going to be 4 times u prime, which is secant x, tangent x, plus secant squared x, times this. Okay. 4 times 1/2 is 2. Over. If you want to, you can go ahead and do a square root under that. But I think I see something happening. I'm going to hold on that real quick. Okay, now, I see I can factor out a secant here. So that's going to be 2 secant x, which is going to give me tangent x plus secant x. Okay, so I'm already seeing that something's going to be crossing out here. So, which is going to be this, so I'm just going to flip this secant x. So instead of secant x plus tangent x to the 1/2, it's going to be tangent x plus secant x to the 1/2. I'm using the commutative property of addition. Okay, so that's going to be 1 minus 2 over 2. So we have 2 over 2 minus 1/2 is going to be 1/2. So you're going to have 2 secant x tangent x plus secant x to the 1/2. Oops, there's an x. Okay, equals 2 secant x tangent x plus secant x. Okay, so some algebra in there that came up. So this is pretty much like the last problem we did. So there's a chain rule. 4 comes down. There's u prime right here. Times this. This negative exponent means it goes down here. 4 times 1/2 is 2. So you have this up here. I noticed that I have a secant here, and that's secant x tangent x here, so I factored out a secant to see what I would get. You get that? You could go one step further by putting like 2 times square root of tangent x plus secant x over cosine x if you wanted to, but I'm just going to stop here. Okay, for that problem. Now we got another one. Now we're getting a little bit more complicated. Okay, so these, you're going to do the power rule first, and then you're going to do the chain rule after that, okay? So there's supposed to be a y here. So this is going to be y equals cosine of 2x squared. Okay, remember, this is the same thing as that, all right? Whatever is in here, that's going to be u. Now you're going to be doing multiple chain rules here, so watch your indentations. It will help to indent. So u equals cosine of 2x, f of u is u squared. Okay? Now, you're finding u prime. So this is a chain rule here. So if you're already noticing a pattern, you can go ahead and do that. So you're going to be doing the derivative of this, which is 2 times the derivative of cosine of u, which is going to be negative sine x. So if you want to do it fast, it would be negative 2 sine of x for this one. But I'm just going to do it again. So I'm doing chain rule again, so I'm just indenting. So so if you want to, you can do like a u2 equals 2x. F of u, 2 is cosine of u. So u2 prime is 2. F prime of u, 2 is negative sine of u. So f prime of x2 is negative sine of 2x. So u prime is going to be 2 times negative sine of 2x, which is going to be negative 2 sine of 2x. And then we have this f of u over here. F prime of u, I'll put it right here. F prime of u is 2u. So f prime of x is 2, that u right there, 2 cosine 2x. So my derivative is going to be u prime times this, so negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. Sine of 2x times cosine of 2x. Now I think the double angle for sine of 2x is sine x cosine x, but I'm just getting confused whether that's a sine or the cosine of 2x. So watch your trig identities, your calculus book. You may get this answer, might be the right answer, but your calculus book might go a step further by using a double angle identity here. So again, just refresh on those. All right, now we got another one. Okay, so not too bad for the start anyway, but you see there's going to be a product rule in there. So u is 1 plus x to the 5th cotangent of x. Just going to put this over here so I got room. F of u is going to be u to the negative 8. F prime of u is negative 8u to the negative 9. So f prime of x is going to be negative 8. 1 plus x to the 5th cotangent of x to the negative 9th. Okay, so that's this. We're going to come back to that. Okay, we need to find u prime. So not so bad until you get here. There's a product rule there. So product rule is f prime of g plus g prime of f. So the derivative of 1 is going to be 0. G is cotangent of x, and g prime is negative cosecant squared x. So u prime is going to be 5x to the 4th times cotangent x times cotangent x. And then g prime, we got the negative, so minus cosecant squared x, and I'm just going to squeeze the x to the 5th right here. X's don't really go behind those, they go in front. So u prime is 5x to the 4th cotangent of x minus x to the 5th cosecant squared x. Okay, so I'm ready to go and put it in here. So I'm going to do this times that. Okay, so y prime is going to be 5x to the 4th cotangent of x minus x to the 5th cosecant squared x times negative 8 1 plus x to the 5th cotangent x to the negative 9th. So let's make it look pretty. If you want to, you can go ahead and factor these x's. I'm just going to wait to factor those x's out. So you have negative 8, 5x to the 4th cotangent x, minus x to the 5th cosecant squared x, over 1 plus x to the 5th cotangent x to the 9th. And if you want to just factor out those x's, you can. It will just help you later on. Let's see. Yeah, that's not going to help at all. Alrighty, and if you want to, you could do negative 8 x to the 4th times 5 cotangent of x minus x cosecant squared x over 1 plus x to the 5th cotangent x to the 9th. So there's that problem. So pretty straightforward chain rule, except it had a product rule in there. Okay, so let's review slope of the tangent. Calculus likes those. So remember that the derivative is the slope, and please know your unit circle because it is back again. Okay? And I'm not going to be accepting decimals for unit circle things. Okay? Alright, so find the slope of the tangent to y equals sine 5th x. So u is going to be, so let's write it like this. So y equals sine x to the 5th. It's just going to make the chain rule easier for you to see. So u equals sine x. F of u equals u to the 5th. U prime is cosine x. F prime of u is 5u to the 4th. F prime of x is going to be 5 sine to the 4th x. Y prime is going to be, let's see, so it's going to be this times that, so that's going to be 5 cosine x sine to the 4th of x. Okay, so now we're finding the slope at pi over 3. So m equals y prime of pi over 3, which is going to be 5 cosine of pi over 3 times sine to the 4th of pi over 3. So this is 60 degrees. So at 60 degrees, you have 1/2 and square root of 3 over 2. Cosine of pi over 3 is 1/2. Sine of pi over 3 is square root of 3 over 2. So this 4th just means you're fourthing that. Okay. So we're going to get 5/2 times, that's going to be 9. If you're not sure, you're doing 3 to the 4 over 2, which is 3 squared, which is 9, which is 45 over 2. That's the slope. Okay. Finding the equation of a line parametrically. So parametrically, you have like 3 variables. You have x, y, and t. I'll do this with polynomials first, and then we'll go back to that. If I can find the paper, which is somewhere hiding from me. Okay, all right, I got it. Okay, so finding something parametrically. Okay, so first You're going to be given x and you're going to be given y. Okay? So you're going to evaluate x of t using the value of t that's going to be given. And then you're going to find the derivative of those. And then you're going to put them in here. So to find the tangent line, you're going to be using the point that you got in step 2 and the slope here. So here's how you get your slope. Here's how you get your point. So we're going to be finding the equation of the line, equation of the tangent line to the curve at the point defined by the given value of t. So we have x equals that. So that's going to mean, so t equals -3. So x at -3 is going to be 2 times -3 minus 5. -6 minus 5 is -11. And then y of -3 is going to be 4 times -3 minus 7. -12 minus 7 is -19. So we have our point -11, -19. Okay, now let's find our slope, which is going to be y prime of t over x prime of t. So x prime of t is going to be 2. Derivative of 2t minus 5 is 2. The derivative of y prime of t is going to be 4. Derivative of 4t minus 7 is 4. Okay. So it doesn't really matter if you put in t here. So m is going to be y prime t over x prime t, which is going to be 4 over 2, which is 2. So we have m equals 2, and we have our point -11, -19. So y is going to be 2 x minus x1 plus y1, which is going to be 2x plus 22 minus 19, which is going to be 2x plus 3. So that's how you get your equation of a line parametrically. Okay, next one. Let's try another one. So first thing you do, you're going to find x of t at 1. So you're going to do x of 1 is going to be 1 squared, which is 1. Y of 1 is going to be 4 minus 1 squared, which is going to be the square root of 3. So your point is going to be 1 square root of 3. Okay, find the derivative. X prime of t is 2t. Y prime of t is going to be a chain rule thing. So that's going to be, wait on that, 4 minus t squared to the 1/2. So if you look at this, it's going to be 1/2. I'm just going to do it fast. So you're going to take that down, 1/2 times the derivative that's inside here, which is going to be -2t, times 4 minus t squared to the -1/2. Okay, so I did the chain rule, I just didn't do the u's and the f of u's, okay? So how we've been doing it, we took the derivative here and then multiplied by the power, and then here's f of u right there. So y prime of t is going to be -t times 4 minus t squared to the -1/2. Okay. If you want to go ahead and evaluate x prime of 1, is going to be 2 times 1, which is 2. Y prime of 1 is going to be -1, 4 minus 1 to the -1/2, which is going to be -1 over the square root of 3. So you're going to have square root of 3 to negative 1/2, and then you just put it down there. So the equation, so to find slope, m is going to be y prime of t, which is 1, over x prime of t, which is 1, which is going to be negative 1 over square root of 3 divided by 2, which is negative 1 over square root of 3 times 1/2. So you get negative 1 over 2 square root of 3. That's just slope. Now you're finding the tangent line. But we don't like radicals in the denominator, so more accurately, it's going to be negative. So multiply square root of 3, which is going to be square root of 3 over 2 times 3, which is 6. So your tangent line is going to be y equals negative square root of 3 over 6 times x minus 1 plus square root of 3. And I'll just leave it like that. I guess you can keep going. We're just going to leave it like this. So distribute, and then you would need a common denominator of 6 here, and then add this, and yay, you get your line. Okay, so nothing's fun without using a little trig, so let's do the same thing with trig. Okay. So, same thing. Unit circle point, don't use decimals. Alright, so x prime pi over 2 is going to be 3 times pi over 2 minus sine of pi over 2, which is going to be 3 pi over 2 minus 1. So that's going to end up being 3 pi minus 2 over 2. Now y prime of pi over 2 is going to be 3 times pi over 2 minus 3 cosine of pi over 2. So you get 3 pi over 2. Cosine of pi over 2 is 0. So 3 pi over 2. So your point is going to be 3 pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. That's your point. Slope. Okay, so you're going to do x prime of t. That's not x prime, that's just, there you go. Oh, I did it over here too. Okay, these are just the x and the t's. X prime of t is going to be 3 minus cosine of t. Y prime of t is going to be 3 plus 3 sine of t. Okay, so remember cosine is negative sine, negative times negative is a positive. X prime of pi over 2 is going to be 3 minus cosine of pi over 2, which is just 3, minus 0, which is 3. And then y prime of pi over 2 is going to be 3 plus 3 sine of pi over 2, which is 1, which is 3 plus 3, which is 6. So your slope is going to be y prime of t over x prime of t, which is 6 over 3, which is 2. And your equation on the tangent line is going to be y equals m x minus x1 plus y, which is going to be 2x minus 3 pi plus 2 plus 3 pi, which is going to be 2x plus 2. There's your equation on the tangent line. Now, where I get that plus from, you have to distribute the negative. Okay. And that is for this video. Hope it helps. Have a good night.